Hello and welcome back to some more Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. This is Kabusha, and today I am attempting the Mikasa. Truth be told, this is actually my third attempt, and this is not a one-to-one recreation. This is a close approximation of the original ship. Now, if you're not familiar with the Mikasa, it is the last surviving pre-dreadnought, and it is in Japan acting as a museum ship. It had a fairly respectable service life, although after its first war, it unceremoniously detonated its munition spaces in an accident, but was subsequently refloated, repaired, and served as a second-line ship after that before being retired. As a pre-dreadnought built by Japan early in its history, or well, early in the modern era, it was actually built in Great Britain, and as a result was a modified design of one of Britain's ships. I ended up finding after some experimenting, it was very difficult to get a exact copy because the ship hull we currently have, that's basically the Mikasa, doesn't quite have enough gun mounts on it. That said, I discovered by going to 15,600 tons was the minimum I could go to in order to get the actual 7-gun broadside of 6-inch turrets in the correct locations. It does make for a slightly longer ship than I would have preferred. Something that looks more like this would have been a lot nicer, aesthetically. But unfortunately, it just does not work. And I broke my ship. No. It'll take me just a moment here just to fix this. Doo-doo-doo. And 6-inch casemates. Dunk. And secondary casemates 3-inch. And then now the torpedo tubes, something like that. Actually, it should be more before, if I recall. And a casemate 3-inch, or sorry, secondary 3-inch. I found out I could tuck one more nestled in right in there. It's not gonna do much of anything, if at all, but it gets us closer to the gun cap. We have 14 6-inch guns. We have 16 3-inch guns, and we should actually have 20, but we just can't put them on here. I can put, for example, some 3-inch guns in here. They will never, ever fire. I tried to see if they would at least do something. They can't. And if you look at the Mikasa schematics, they show these guns actually going on top of this rail up here, and we just can't place anything there yet. So it's what it is. What it is. This is as close as I get. The reality is the 3-inch guns don't do much of anything on this ship, but you know it's an attempt to get as close as possible. Next, she did have steam triple expansion engines, coal fuel, and she actually had forced draft boilers. So induced was the closest I could get, and with only a top speed of 18 to 18.5 knots, depending on speed trial versus loaded weight and such, we have plenty of engine efficiency. We're just fine. From here, protection. She did have corrupt armor. I went with just standard barbettes. They were relatively thick. No anti-torpedo belt. There was nothing mentioned anywhere I could find about any actual true anti-torpedo protection. Similarly, nothing regarding a double or triple bottom, which makes sense. It was a very early pre-dreadnought. I did, however, go for reinforced bulkheads, and many of them. We're going to go against AI designs that would be built, in this case it's 1899, they would be built probably with those same functions, so I might as well build with the best technology available for when the ship was laid down. It just makes sense. Lastly, I did go for anti-floating too. It's available, I might as well use it. I mean, the ability to pump out water of your ship seems like a pretty straightforward thing. And lastly, Citadel 2, she did have a sloped deck of some flavor. As far as which of these would be exactly correct, who knows, but I'm assuming, again, based upon the technologies we have in game, it's 1899, I would be building a ship on Citadel 2. It just makes sense. Powder, this is wrong. Did some researching, and apparently, Japan actually licensed, and they've got it right here in game, Powder B from the French. That was the white powder that they were using, and they licensed it in, I think, 1893, I believe? But the technology tree is still wrong, so we can't select it in 1899. I went all the way up to like 1902 when the ship was commissioned, and there's still no white powder available. So I went ahead and just wrote it back down to 1899. That way it's more, the technologies I have available are similar to what the AI would have. So I'm less crippled. That aside, though, yeah, this is what she should actually be running. And shortly after that, and I think 1903 was when they purchased cordite technology from the British, or started using it anyway, and eventually developed their own cordite too a few years later. So yeah, this I hope this gets addressed eventually with uh, just lining up their tech tree closer to when things were actually available and being distributed. Next, we are going with heavy shells, and these shells are still not heavy enough. I'd actually need like a super heavy shell to get it correct. So we only have a shell weight of 665 kilograms when it should be about 800. These were very heavy shells. That said, we are flying at a muzzle velocity of 764 meters per second. Should be about 730. So at least we're in the ballpark for muzzle velocity, but we are a little under the gun as far as the actual shell weight goes. So at this point, it's really your discretion, which if you're trying to recreate the ship, which you're going to use. Do you want more shell damage but more detonation, or do you want more velocity and a smaller increase to shell damage? I went with the second option this time. I do find this ship likes to blow up a lot, so, you know, buyer beware. We have a coincidence rangefinder. Again, this is a British ship. They favored using coincidence rangefinders, and the Japanese, at least in this era, were running similar technologies. I did give her advanced hydraulic turrets. You could have gone with, you know, standard hydraulics of merit, but also kind of trying to using up the tonnage a little bit closer. I actually went slightly over somewhere in here, but it's pretty darn close. Her loaded weight was about 15,380, so we're certainly in the ballpark. 18-inch torpedoes, a pair per side, and I went with standard reloading. There was nothing remarkable about the loading systems on this ship. It was very vanilla for its era. Lastly, where most of our tonnage ended up going was the belt extended. It should be a 9-inch belt with a 4-inch belt extended. And majority of time this ship detonates because the ammunition is being stored in the extended belt. In my experiments, the belts are only going to right about here and here on this ship. So your turreted guns and barbettes are totally vulnerable. The ammunition spaces are totally vulnerable because they're in the extended belt. And I get tired of ships blowing up. I tried making it work, and I did have one successful run, but I really wasn't happy with it. The ship didn't really perform as it should have because of that huge vulnerability. So I went ahead and bumped it up to 9 inches here to properly armor these munition spaces. It's just a concession I had to make. 3-inch deck, 2-inch deck extended, 14-inch conning tower, 10 inches of turret, 8 inches of turret top, and 6 inches on the secondaries. We do have an unused gun mount here, but again, she didn't use those mounts. I could, actually, I believe if I look at the schematic, I think the 3-inch guns might have slotted in there. But currently, for whatever reason, if you have a casemate 3-inch gun, you can only place them in the stern mount. You can't place them in the bow mount, for whatever reason. Just another little oddity. So I believe that's the gist of it. On that, we're going for front tower 2. Front tower 3 is available, but that's not really what she had. She had these very long observation decks, front and rear. They're basically a mirror of each other, so I chose the bridges that, well, represented that. So I think that's pretty much the gist of it. In this scenario, I have a transport fleet of 5 ships and a heavy cruiser that was escorting them. We are basically moving in to rescue this fleet because 2 battleships of Russian design have intercepted and are attempting to sink the fleet. So my goal is to save this ship. 4-weight offset's a little bit unruly, and we have a lot of roll because of the heavy secondaries. But you know, it's just what I have to deal with. That's how these ships were designed. So let's give it a go. Continue. Here we go. 2 looks like Tumblehome design battleships against my battleship 2, heavy cruiser, and some transports. We'll see what we get. Whoa, we started right next to it. They are to the north, which is behind us. Not the best. We're gonna have to just swing around like this to even plot an interception course. The heavy cruiser is over here, and we will spin him around this way as well. It's not my preferred option, but these ships are going to be fighting with each other way too much, and as a ship crosses the path of another, even if they're never going to intercept, the pathfinding thinks they will, and it causes some of the most erratic maneuvers. So it's just what we have to deal with. We'll speed this up, get these ships turned on around, and provided I interfere as little as possible with these transports, they will hopefully maintain their speed and make haste out of here. It's very easy for them to get confused and simply stop in place. Go to zero, park, and get blasted. I found the majority of the time we tend to get outspotted by the Russian ships. We'll see if this continues today. If they're to the north, somewhere out there, we'll maybe angle something like this. I'm assuming they're steaming across, but they could be steaming this way. I do not know. What type of heavy cruiser do we have today? 23 knots, pretty respectable armor of low quality. Standard bulkheads, 9-inch guns, some 5-inch guns. Alright. Oh, alright, slow this down. So we already found it. I'm going to swing the heavy cruiser around to screen from this way. And the Mikasa is going to slow down to full, and we'll probably maintain this course for a little bit. We'll see what those battleships do, if they turn to engage us or keep steaming ahead towards the transport fleet. It looks to me like they're probably going to continue steaming ahead. So with that in mind, we'll also turn this ship around. Turn! There we go, thank you. And see what we can do. We've already landed a hit. Odds are we'll probably only penetrate their extended belt and or deck from this range. What is our range? Probably 5 kilometers, so very close range. We probably only have about 3.1 kilometer range in our torpedoes. So torpedo threats are not very large in this era, but they are devastating. Especially since we have no torpedo belt to speak of. You are going to maintain full speed and just try to screen the transports as best you can. Hopefully this ship will draw a little bit of the aggro. We'll go ahead and speed it up to full. We'll see if we can get that interception course. It does hurt my gunnery. And with a coincidence rangefinder, a closer range engagement is certainly going to be better for us. But 2 ships on 1 means I need to probably try to engage with this frontal ship and hopefully sink it before the other ship really gets involved. If we're lucky, they might have stereoscopic where I'm going to have easier time at close range, or they could both have coincidence rangefinders and we'll be kind of tit for tat. We currently have a 3%. They have pretty similar. They appear to be working over their heavy cruiser for the most part. I'm going to have him start steaming away, angle his armor. He will probably take some bad damage, but there's not too much I can do about it. Keep swinging around. The stern turret is still swinging into place. Looks like we just dropped a little bit short here. They do have minimum bulkheads, so we may want to consider switching over to high explosive. This ship will almost certainly go to... Let me see, where was that? Oops, there it is. High explosive, because you're going to have a very poor chance of pinning. Yeah. So we're going to go high explosive. And go rat-tat-tat-tat-tat. No torpedoes, unfortunately. No balanced lances. Oh, man, that's pretty scary stuff. And that ship is up to a 4% chance to hit. We are still at a 3.5 and closing. We currently have only 2 of our bow gun, or 2 of our large guns are still on target. We really need to get this ship swung around so that stern turret can start doing some work. Speed on those ships, 19 knots. And they're currently steaming at about that speed, so we're just going to have to maintain. So we really can't afford for them to outpace us. Now, that second ship is aiming towards us with the primary guns. Not the greatest deal. Hopefully we can get this ship swung around to where I'll be a little bit angled out from that ship. I'm still going to have to accept broadsides from the Synop, but the Maria, hopefully we can angle against. Low chance to ricochet. Oh man, yeah, crossfire. Low chance to ricochet. Range 3.3, 3.6. We actually have a closer engagement here on that ship. So we might see if we can make that work. Again, I would really like to angle better, but with these ships, that's very difficult to do. They have very poor turret locations right next to the relatively small superstructures that really limit your fields of fire. Side, 94% chance to hit. We are sitting at a 10%. They're sitting at a 6, so they probably have a stereoscopic rangefinder. So this engagement is favoring us slightly, but you know, 6 and 6, that's basically a 12% chance to hit effectively. I know that's not really how the math works, but with how odds work in this game, that seems to be how it kind of starts rolling out. I'm actually going to turn in a little bit, and I'm going to maintain this speed. I would really like to slow down for better accuracy, but hopefully I can get a little bit more of an angle against the Sinop. Here we go. Good pin. Not that much damage. Only 39 damage. But at least we're flooding and we damaged an engine. Excellent. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us. Out of curiosity, is that stern 3-incher firing? Probably not. Nah, it's not doing anything. I'm not overly surprised. Now we are taking some fires, but because of our bulkhead situation, we're doing okay. We're up to a 13% chance to hit, which is excellent. They are only at 7 and 7. Get another penetrating hit and get them flooded, we could sink that ship pretty quickly. So I'm going to stay on AP for now. Oh, their rudder is also damaged. Interesting. Rudder damaged, engine 2 damaged. We're doing okay. Orange. Bounces. Our torpedoes are away at this point. I don't know when they got launched. I missed the launch. Let's see if I can find them. Should be, yeah, they fired before the engine damage, so that's a bit of a waste. That's okay though. At least the attempt was made. We're getting very, very close to the Sinop. I might go ahead and do is cut in and focus the torpedoes on the Sinop and see if I can get the torpedoes to shoot out of the starboard side and maybe get torpedoes into her. How's our heavy cruiser doing? Not that she's doing okay. Bring her back around. See if she can keep drawing some aggro. Looks like a bounce. Yeah, decent chance to pin, but not the greatest. Yep, we finally took one. Mid-belt pin. Okay, it was in the upper belt, so no flooding. Good. No damage to the engine. We can take that. We can take a hit like that. We'll be fine. Out of curiosity, do we know what they're using? They're using gun cotton. And there's our torpedoes away. They'll probably be good. Let's see what we can't do here. Looking pretty good. It's trying to steer, but we might. I think we're gonna get both. Boom! Good hits. I would have preferred a little bit more of a flooding into there, but I'll take what I can get. I'm gonna keep working on around. Every cruiser keeps bringing on around. Let's keep pummeling that ship. We're gonna keep circling. This will hopefully make it a little bit difficult. Oh, it can actually, that rear turret is so far to the aft, it can spin at 360. The guns kind of drag through the superstructure, but oh yeah, that cheaty git. I was hoping to be able to outrun its guns that way. everything back on that ship. And we're actually going to switch to high explosive for just a little while. Slow down to full. Let's see if we can get some good smack damage. We're turning a little bit tighter because we are now going at full. You still doing your thing. Turn it just a little bit more. I'm gonna slow you down to full as well. See if we work it over. We are missing with those torpedoes. How could you? And that ship actually, unfortunately, managed to get its engine and the rudder repaired. So, not great. Come on, turn in. Hard to port. Bring this thing on in. Something like that. There is ramming damage in game, which I am somewhat worried about. And I think that ship might be trying for the ram. See if we can't keep outrunning it. Let's go straight ahead. Full speed. Let's see if we can outrun that. So much for that. We're gonna turn out. And maybe not. Yeah, we're gonna turn out. See if we can get, since she's gonna be broadside to us, let's see if we can't get torpedoes from the starboard side into her again. Unfortunately, this does mean our bow turret will not be engaged, but we'll see. We do have her burning merrily, which I love. And everything on her, especially at this range, it shouldn't be too bad. We're gonna slow down to full, so we have a tighter turning circle. I see you still shooting me. How are you doing? You still working over? You know, just make sure you're on aggressive. Fire everything. If you got a gun, fire it at that ship. Keep it burning. Do it for me. And our torpedoes are away. Boom, boom. And we're going to switch back to armor piercing here. Since we are in her broadside. Bunch of pinning hits. More flotation damage. She does have anti-flooding. She's trying to pump it out. Oh, they have 13-inch guns. I hadn't even noticed. Whew, man. Those, every single time it fires that shorter range, it's just terrifying. You're going, a good hit could punch through our belt, guaranteed. And we've taken some damage, but I think that ship's going down now. Bingo! Alright. Torpedoes save the day again. So, how are we doing? Angle, somewhat poor. We'll go high explosive for now. See if we can set some nice fires. You're gonna cut on across. That ship's engine is still damaged. They never recover from the flooding in the bow. Too extensive. Like those low 4-inch turrets on either side. That's kind of cool looking. I do like those kind of tumble home looking ships. Pretty cool. Oh! So a 4-inch shell pinned the stern belt extended and detonated the munitions for the 9-inch guns. Wow. This is why I so desperately hope they fix the damage model in this game. The fact that these extended belt locations are so vulnerable in all ships is just, you know, redonkulous. What's a chance to pin? Yeah, decent chance to pin the belt. Average ricochet chance. We'll go switch back to AP for now. Let's go to angle in some. Maybe something like that. Full steam ahead. Some shatters. We're doing okay. I like that. You could see where that penetrating hit came in. And yeah, it punched a hole right there. She's taking some damage. She's doing good. Good ship. Just some low beauty shots. Kind of had to. Hey, another pin. Go over and stern belt extended. Maybe that hit in there. Sure. Looks like it's perhaps a mid belt. Nothing below the waterline. Let's go to high explosives since we're cutting across the stern now. We did get some more torpedoes out. Looks like probably the first torpedo will probably hit. Or they might both miss. Depends how it brackets. Go both. That one's definitely hitting. Oh, that one just missed. But with all the flooding in the bow, that ship's gonna go away now. Yep. Very good. Bingo! So that is victory. Yeah, it's amazing the difference it makes between having an armored, homogeneous belt at this point in the game and a traditional semi-armored design. So, yeah, it's just night and day difference. Made that mission way easier. Oh well, we'll see. Hopefully the next update they'll address that. Either way though, this is a lot of fun. Hopefully you kind of got to see a more, a classic battleship before the Dreadnoughts showed up, and one of the more infamous or famous ones. So, and I hope eventually we do get a slightly updated hull where I can build with all the secondary armaments. But this is pretty darn close. At least I had the correct 6 inches and most of the 3s, so not too bad. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I kind of had fun. It's got to be something I think I'll enjoy, and I hope you guys enjoy too. So we'll see what I come up with for next time. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great day.